Hi there, this is Sean, the Honest Book Reviewer, with another book review. In this video, we're discussing After Story, written by Larissa Behrendt. It's one of the books on the Miles Franklin Literary Award long list, and it did make the short list. I didn't get to read this book prior to the short list being announced for this award, but it is one of the, I think, 3 books that I didn't get to read before the announcement. So I've got 2 books to go from the whole long list out of the 12 that were announced at the start. Let's talk more about this book now. In this book, Jasmine is taking her mother, Della, on a literary tour in England. She's not really sure how her mother's going to go on this tour. Her mother really is not much of a reader, but she thinks her mother will enjoy it. Her mother's not been overseas before, and she just thinks it'll be a chance for them to bond as well, get to spend some time together. One of the big themes in this book that runs through the whole book is about their past. So 25 years prior to this current storyline, there was a tragedy in the family. One of Jasmine's sisters, one of Della's daughters, was kidnapped, taken from the family home one night. And I think it was the eldest daughter. That caused just a huge hole in the whole family. I mean, very tragic. You can imagine how tragic that is and how distressing and just how awful that is for a family for that to happen. And just that whole feeling of grief and loss and just that open wound that's still there for the whole family, that's explored and that's shown in this book for the whole story, really. And you get to see it from different character viewpoints. You see it from Jasmine's viewpoint as the younger daughter, who was 3 at the time this happened, and her feelings about how that impacted her childhood when she was growing up. And you get the viewpoint from Della, the mother, whose daughter was abducted, and how that made her feel, and just the guilt and shame that comes from people thinking that she could have been a better mother and things like that, and how disappearance of a child and then ultimate death of a child, because we find out that the daughter was found dead months later, how that impacted her as well, and how she felt about that, and how she felt about how the community thought of her as a mother when that happened. All that's explored in this book as well. While they're travelling on this tour in England, going to different houses where literary figures lived and the like, the thing that I liked about this book the most was Della's chapters. Della, the mother, her chapters were just great. I liked her viewpoint. It was very original, very endearing, very honest as well, and just very basic, very simple, down to earth. Her observations just felt so grounded, and I got a true sense of who Della was as a person in this book. I enjoyed her chapters very much. Without Della's voice, I think this book would have suffered. I didn't really enjoy the chapters from Jasmine's point of view as much. I thought they were a bit more self-centered, a bit more self-serving, and I think they were a bit dull compared to Della's. There was something lacking in Jasmine's point of view, and I didn't really enjoy the way that character was developed or investigated in this book. I liked Della's character totally, and she was a standout for me. If the whole book was about Della and her point of view while on this tour, it would have been a much better read, in my opinion. One of the big thoughts I had reading this book is that it just felt like episodes from a TV series called Coach Trip that was on TV a few years ago, and I don't know if it's still going on TV or not, but it's a TV series where it's a reality show just about a coach trip through Europe, and we get different couples going on and they just go on and off at different times through the series, and it's just about things they see on the coach trip but also their interactions with each other. And this book reminded me of that. It just reminded me of that whole thing, and it felt like the author ripped that concept from that TV show and injected that into this book. I got that sense because on this coach trip in this book, there are different characters and we get a lot of the interactions going on. Sometimes there's conflict, sometimes there's friendships forming, and it happens on this TV series as well. Maybe all coach trips are like that. I'm not sure. I've never been on a coach trip with strangers like that. But it just felt like to me, like that TV series. And in some ways, I felt that was a good thing. In some ways, I felt that was a bad thing. But I got that sense through this whole read. A big thing I liked about this story, the way it was constructed, is how the history of the characters was interwoven into the present day storyline so well. We didn't get big chunks of history, and there weren't chapters of history through the book. I thought that was really cleverly done, cleverly written, because my preference is not to have big chunks of history in a book. And I thought the author was very clever in the way this was constructed and written, and just shows the author can write very well. Della. Della is my favourite character in this book. Everything about her felt so real. You could really feel her grief, her pain, her loss. Even her joy at times you could feel, and her happiness. You could feel everything she felt so vividly and with so much clarity. I think Della is a truly remarkable character. She felt so honest, so earthy, and it's a character I think that if I came across in real life, I'd be happy to talk to. She just seemed that kind of person that would talk to anybody and be very personable. Even though she carries around all this torment, in her memories and in her past, she just comes across as a character that seems to also grab life all the time and just really enjoy the moment. She seems very lifelike, very real. She has ups and downs. Even in this book, she has a lot of ups and downs from her point of view, but they are all understandable, and you just get a true sense of who she is. Jasmine, on the other hand, I didn't really like as much as Della. I didn't think she was consistent. I didn't get a true sense that her personality matched what we're told she is. I just didn't get a sense that the author created this character very well. Didn't seem perfectly well-rounded. Della did. Jasmine just seemed there was something lacking. She wasn't as endearing or as engaging, and I just found myself looking forward to Della's chapters while I was reading Jasmine's. If it was more centered around Della, I would have enjoyed the book more. While I did think this book was well written, and the themes explored in this book are explored very well. It's very sensitive, the book, and the themes can be quite shocking to readers. I think the author did a great job in presenting these often dark and difficult themes in the book. It's very well written. It's written in a very caring and sensitive way. And I really enjoyed Della. And I think Della is a very good character, a standout character, and the best character in this book. Jasmine not so much, and that, coloured the view of the book for me. I rate this book a 3.5 out of 5. It's well written. Parts of the coach trip element, when we're going to different places on this trip, got a little bit stagnant, a little bit stale, a little bit boring, but Della, her viewpoint, brought everything to life. And I found her so engaging, so endearing, so genuine, a really great character. I will have a review of every book on the Miles Franklin Literary Award longlist for 2022. If you want to see those videos, check out my channel and subscribe. I've also got a Miles Franklin playlist on my channel. Should be on your screen now.